At an airport in Canada, Ridley and her father are waiting for their flight to take off. The pilot announces that there is a technical malfunction and the departure will be delayed by several hours. Realizing they can't afford to lose any more time, Elliot takes his daughter, rents a car, and sets off toward the northern mountains. Halfway through the journey, his boss calls and tells him he's late. Elliot panics, speeds up, but there's no cell service and the call drops. When he gets distracted, they suddenly hit a horse that runs onto the road. The car swerves and crashes. Elliot checks on his daughter first, then gets out of the car. The injured animal is still alive. He takes a tool from the trunk. When Ridley gets closer, she realizes the animal isn't an ordinary horse. Purple blood is oozing out. Standing before them is a unicorn. Elliot gets frustrated, moves away from the animal, and tries to call his boss. Meanwhile, Ridley notices that the creature is in pain. The horn starts to glow. Curious, Ridley reaches out and touches it. At that moment, she sees the universe, stars, and galaxies in a magical vision. But Elliot notices this and repeatedly hits the unicorn on the head with the iron rod in his hand. The poor creature dies. Hours later, the father and daughter arrive at a large mansion in the northern mountains. The lifeless body of that legendary creature is still in the trunk. They park the car and go inside. Shepard greets them at the door. Shortly after, a woman named Belinda arrives. She says that her husband's health is poor, but he wants to meet with Elliot. Elliot and Ridley are taken to see the old man, Odell. Odell asks about their journey. This question reminds Ridley of what her father did. Noticing the girl's uneasy demeanor, the old man tries to understand what's going on. Ridley says there's no problem, but makes it clear she doesn't want to stay here. Belinda explains that Elliot has work to do and that it's not possible for them to leave. Ridley leaves the room. After a while, she goes into the bathroom. The servants also check the windows and try to figure out why the vehicle was damaged. While drying her face, Ridley finds a purple bloodstain on the towel. When she looks in the mirror, she notices that the pimples on her face have disappeared. Meanwhile, Elliot tries to read the contracts to Odell and his family, but his vision becomes blurry. He can't see the text. Nevertheless, the father and daughter continue with their duties. But what they don't know is that the unicorn is still alive inside the vehicle. Ridley senses this, runs to her father, and tells him that something bad is going to happen. Elliot doesn't believe her. He calms her down and tells her they need to focus on the meeting. He promises that he will have a grave made for the creature and that the subject will never be brought up again. At that very moment, the vehicle starts moving on its own. Elliot panics. He asks Odell for permission to take his daughter away. The old man refuses. He says he will not accept any exceptions. At that moment, the servants inform Shepard that the vehicle is moving. Shepard becomes suspicious of the situation and asks what they are hiding. Elliot's tension makes the family suspicious. They go outside. At that moment, the car alarm goes off. Elliot turns off the sound but sees the unicorn trying to escape through the window. An employee fires his gun and kills it. The group, in shock, decides to examine the body. The family discusses the animal's species. Ridley says that it is a unicorn. Odell approaches. Ridley explains that the purple liquid touched her face and her pimples disappeared. Odell asks how the girl feels and whether she has experienced any side effects. Elliot also says that his eyesight has improved and his allergy is gone. Ridley argues that they should inform an institution that deals with wild animals. Odell says that's impossible. Belinda says that if they contact the authorities, it will attract the attention of bad people and that the best thing to do is to honor the creature. In the evening, Elliot asks his daughter why she is acting strange. Ridley says that the creature didn't harm her and that it was trying to show her something. Elliot gets angry and says he can't lose his customers because of his daughter's imagination. Ridley gets upset and kicks her father out of the room. Elliot feels regretful. He confesses that after his wife's death, he always wanted to give his daughter the best, and now they only have each other. Ridley doesn't respond. She looks at photos of her mother on her phone. In one of the photos, she sees a unicorn in the background. Surprised, she opens her computer. She researches these creatures. Old records state that a unicorn captured thousands of years ago was tortured and destroyed the entire village. Meanwhile, outside, Elliot notices that the covering over the creature, placed by Brandon, is moving. As he tries to figure out what's happening, Shepard calls him. The two of them go back inside together. At that moment, strange sounds come from the forest. A few minutes later, the northern lights appear in the sky. At the same time, Ridley sees images in her sleep of something running through the forest. The young girl is awakened by a group of scientists. Elliot has also been captured. The two of them are taken to the laboratory. There, both their bodies and the unicorn's corpse are examined. The researchers announce the results shortly after. There is a powerful substance in the creature's horn that enables tissues to regenerate themselves. Odell says this could be their last chance against cancer and insists that the trials begin immediately. The scientists take a small piece from the horn and mix the substance into Odell's medication. The old man is kept under observation, but the electromagnetic radiation in the unicorn's body keeps increasing. The scientists want to take another sample. Ridley is disturbed by this situation and goes outside. He hears terrifying screams in the forest and rushes back to the mansion in a panic. Meanwhile, Elliot visits Odell. The man's pallor is gone. His illness has receded. The unicorn's blood has worked. While Ridley continues his research, Shepard suggests that he organize the information about unicorns and turn it into a presentation. Suddenly, everyone is stunned. Odell is walking down the corridor. He looks both strong and rejuvenated. He is determined to use the creature's power. He increases the dosage of his treatment. Ridley senses that this course is dangerous and wants to leave. Odell does not allow this. He orders his staff to replicate the composition of the substance. The scientist says that this is impossible. The purple liquid does not resemble any known chemical. Its structure is completely new and incomprehensible. Odell becomes angry. He demands that they find a way to replicate the substance. According to him, this substance will be the most valuable compound in the world. A few hours later, Odell and his family meet with potential buyers to sell the new discovery. Ridley tries to figure out what's going on at home. Elliot excitedly tells his daughter that he has never seen so much money in his life. He explains that once the sale is complete, their lives will be different. Odell gathers his family and they celebrate. They have not only gained a great fortune, but also believe that this substance will bring them immortality. Ridley warns everyone in horror. He says that using the unicorn's healing power is dangerous. He explains that in the past, these creatures were seen as divine beings who healed diseases and wounds. However, he explains that because of human greed, they became aggressive and always brought disaster. He presents visual evidence. He emphasizes that every disaster begins with human evil. Odell becomes angry. He starts scolding Elliot because of his daughter's behavior. Ridley can't stand her father's silence, her heart breaks, and she leaves the house. She decides to spend the night in the car. Meanwhile, Odell and his family watch as the scientists prepare to transport the unicorn's body for commercial purposes. At that moment, Ridley's phone doesn't work. There's a power outage in the tunnel where the laboratory is located. The scientists check the radiation devices and realize that the energy is rising rapidly. Seeing that the situation is getting worse, Odell orders Elliot to go outside and check. Elliot obeys reluctantly. Outside, Ridley gets out of the car and meets with the servants. Together, they witness the sight of bright auroras covering the sky. At that very moment, an employee is pierced through the chest by a giant horn, falls to the ground, and dies shortly after. Everyone is stunned. In the darkness of the tunnel, the shadow of a giant creature moves. Shepard pulls back the stretcher carrying the unicorn's body. The servants open fire, but this only enrages the creature further. When Elliot sees his daughter outside, he panics and shouts, telling her to get in the car. Before Ridley can react, the creature strikes the hood of the car with heavy blows. Elliot pulls his daughter behind him, using the car as cover. The servants keep firing. At that moment, the father and daughter realize that what they're seeing isn't a monster, but one of the unicorns that has returned for revenge. Elliot uses the car as cover, trying to hide. Ridley distracts the creature to protect her father and starts to run away. The unicorn angrily chases after her. As it gets closer, it realizes she is the one who communicated with it. Its horn glows as if it wants to communicate with Ridley. Just then, an employee fires a shot. The creature is seriously wounded and flees into the forest. Hours later, the group gathers again. Everyone tries to make sense of what happened. Ridley says that when she touched the unicorn's horn, she formed a bond with it. She explains that thanks to this bond, she sensed the creature's purpose. The unicorn has come to retrieve its foal. She explains that they need to set it free so that no more lives are lost. Shepard objects to this. He says that now that there is more than one unicorn, they could catch them all and make a fortune. Odell gathers his guards and gives the order to prepare for hunting the magical creatures. Ridley begs her father, asking him not to be a part of this evil. Elliot doesn't listen to his daughter, orders her to stay at the mansion, and goes to the forest with Odell. Ridley is left alone in the hall. She hears Shepard trying to persuade the scientist. The young man wants the horn of the captured unicorn to be cut off. Then she secretly pours the unicorn blood she took from the laboratory onto the table. She hesitates for a moment, then drinks all of the liquid. Lights begin to flash in her mind. She is drawn into a magical vision. In the forest, Odell follows the purple traces left by the wounded unicorn. They find the creature motionless among the trees. At the same time, in the laboratory, the scientist tries to saw off the horn. The horn begins to emit light, but the woman doesn't stop and eventually cuts it off. Ridley sends multiple messages to his father, asking them to return immediately. Odell ignores the warnings and continues searching. Just as they're about to catch the creature, a hunter notices that the radiation is rapidly increasing. The woman panics. A few seconds later, a giant creature emerges from the darkness, grabs her, and swallows her whole. In a short time, multiple creatures appear around them. Odell fires in panic, but the bullets have no effect. As the old man slowly drifts away from his group, Elliot scans the forest with thermal goggles. Dozens of unicorns are roaming everywhere. Suddenly, a hunter is shot in the chest. As Elliot tries to help, another creature appears and kills the security guard by impaling him with its horn. Terrified, Elliot flees to the mansion with Odell. They close the door, but the creatures break it down and enter. As the men are escaping, another unicorn corners them. It appears right next to Ridley. At that moment, Elliot realizes that the creature's real target is Odell. He quickly grabs his daughter and pulls her aside. When Odell is surrounded by the creatures, she asks everyone to stay calm and requests that they allow her to touch one of their horns. This is a fatal mistake. The unicorn lowers its head and drives its horn through the old man's skull. Everyone is frozen in shock. The survivors quickly lock all the doors. Ridley says that the only way out is to return the baby unicorn to its family. But no one listens to him. Shepard orders Elliot to call the police. The unicorns cut the power line and the signals go out. After a brief discussion, the group assigns Griff the task of reopening the outer doors. The scientist is tasked with carrying the baby unicorn. The woman places the horn in a protective capsule. Elliot wants to help and joins their plan. The woman takes out a bottle containing unicorn essence and gives it to Elliot. She says that it can protect him and his daughter. The plan is set into motion. While Griff tries to open the outer doors, the scientist goes outside to distract the unicorns. At that moment, two giant creatures appear. When they realize their offspring is dead, they go berserk. The woman flees in panic, but when she reaches the exit, the creatures have disappeared. Before she can react, they lunge out of the darkness and attack. The woman screams and is torn apart. Seeing this scene, Griff runs away in fear and leaves the others inside. Meanwhile, having used too much of the horn essence, Shepard begins to hallucinate. He loses his sanity. He wants them to use Ridley as bait. Elliot realizes these people have gone mad and turns to his daughter, telling her they need to get out of here. During their escape, Shepard blocks their way and tries to catch Ridley. At that moment, unicorns emerge from the darkness. They surround the house. The survivors flee in fear into different rooms. The creatures roam everywhere, searching for their prey one by one. Shepard throws an object to distract them and takes advantage of the opportunity to grab the horn capsule. But in Odell's room, he sees that the capsule is empty. In another room, Elliot reveals the truth to Ridley. He says that he secretly took the unicorn's horn himself and that he promised his wife, Ridley's mother, that he would protect it. That's why he tricked his boss and hid the horn. At the same time, Belinda and Shepard try to escape secretly. A giant unicorn emerges from the darkness, pierces Belinda's body with its horn and drags her away, tossing her violently. With one last effort, the woman grabs the oxygen tank and shouts to her son. Shepard goes up to the second floor. He prepares a flaming arrow but gets scared and backs away. The unicorn attacks and Belinda dies. Meanwhile, Elliot finds the location of the other unicorn. He locks Ridley outside to protect him and stays alone. He opens the living room doors to distract the creature and lures it into the forest as it chases after him. Ridley jumps into the garden and runs to the parking lot. Just as he's about to escape, Shepard catches him and takes him to the unicorn's body. At that moment, one of the surviving unicorns arrives. It recognizes Ridley and kneels before him. Shepard tries to tie up the creature, but Elliot emerges from the forest. The other unicorn is with him. The creatures realize that Ridley is the one who bonded with the young and kneel beside him. Shepard says they could make a fortune with these animals. But Elliot, in a rage, drives the unicorn's horn into Shepard's chest. With one last move, Shepard stabs him with the arrow in his hand and both collapse to the ground. Shepard, wounded and crawling on the ground, reaches for the unicorn's horn but dies from a kick by the creature. Severely injured, Elliot takes his last breath in his daughter's arms. The unicorns approach. They take the man's body and place it next to the young one. They touch their horns together. The area is illuminated by a giant light. The light heals both the creatures and brings Elliot back to life. Elliot has a cosmic vision. The universe is surrounded by stars and lights. Then, a wave of energy knocks everyone to the ground. The unicorns run off into the forest and disappear. Ridley, seeing her father come back to life, hugs him in tears. At that moment, the sound of a vehicle is heard in the distance. Griff, who has returned, finds them, but the joy is short-lived. Soon after, the police arrive and take the father and daughter into custody, accusing them of killing the family. As the transport vehicle sets off, unicorns appear at the edge of the forest. They look at Elliot and Ridley one last time. They raise their horns and smash the vehicle to pieces. The father and daughter are set free,